Good morning, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Saturday, December 27th, 2014, around 6:46 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. The sun's going to be coming up in about a half hour, and it's supposed to be a very warm day for this time of year. We're going to reach 52 degrees, and tomorrow we might have some rain showers, but we'll have 50 degrees. And then next week, this upcoming week, the weather pattern's going to shift to colder weather, but no snowstorms in sight for right now. But during these weather patterns, a snowstorm could pop up at any time. Some news to report: Canada's men's junior hockey team beat Slovakia last night by a score of 8-0 at the World Junior Hockey Championship preliminary round, seeding round, and that was a crushing win by the Canadian junior team, blowout win. And also Dirk Nowitzki is moving up on the list for all-time leading scorers in NBA history. He's now in 8th place. And some history: 21 years ago today, Nature Boy Ric Flair beat Vader to win his 11th World Championship at Starrcade 1993. 19 years ago today, Ric Flair beat Macho Man Randy Savage at Starrcade 1995 to win his 12th World Championship. And 16 years ago today, Kevin Nash beat Goldberg at Starrcade 1998 in Washington, D.C. to end Goldberg's streak of 173 wrestling wins in a row. He had interference with Scott Hall. Scott Hall used the tase on Goldberg, and the streak was over. And this streak was the best thing that WCW had besides the NWO. Once that streak was over, WCW went downhill after that. And that's about it on that. And my next subject of the day, first subject of the day, is about competitive balance in the four major sports, professional sports in North America: the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. Competitive balance in all four major sports is a good thing. And the best ones that have the good competitive balance is the NFL. Has the best competitive balance of all the four major sports because they have a card salary cap, plus they share all the TV revenues with all 32 teams that are divided and stuff like that. And also the NFL season is only 16 games, and each year, except for a select few teams, all the teams in the NFL have a chance to make the playoffs and have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. There's a very few Super Bowl caliber teams every year who's going to be in it to contend for a Super Bowl every single year. But if an NFL team drafts right and signs players with free agency and stuff like that, and has a good coaching staff and has good chemistry with the team, they're going to probably be in it every single year to contend for the playoff spot, either a division championship or one of the two wild cards. And the competitive balance in the NFL is probably the best in all sports. Another sport that has great competitive balance the past few years is Major League Baseball. Ever since they've been getting the second wild card for each league, American League and National League, not too many teams have said they're out of it by July 31st and stuff like that. For years and years, baseball's competitive balance was out of whack. Very few teams could compete for a World Series championship and stuff like that. It was always the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Braves and the Dodgers and a few other teams every single year. You know they would make the playoffs and stuff. While small market teams like the Brewers, the Twins, the Pirates, and then Montreal Expos said they had no shot of competing for a playoff spot, much less a World Series. But in the past, several years, when baseball started this luxury tax, the top money-making teams, big revenue teams, if they reach a threshold of a payroll of over $189 million. They're going to get a luxury tax, and they have to pay in that luxury tax. And all those luxury taxes get distributed to the low revenue teams, which the low revenue teams could use for like to bolster their like ball club, kind of sign their great players to contracts which are team friendly deals, and for them to keep them for like past their when they get to free agency, they don't have to leave the teams that they're playing for free agency. And it seems every single year the free agency pool in baseball over the past 10 years, the best players get signed by their current teams to long-term contracts that are team friendly. So you don't get as good as free agents as you used to do maybe like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Plus they have other forms of revenue sharing, like the internet and the TV deals, and also local TV deals for all these teams for regional sports networks have been skyrocketing as well, and it's helped the smaller market teams and stuff like that. And also some of the smaller market teams are using trades for like to bolster their clubs. Like this year, this offseason, the San Diego Padres traded for one of Justin Upton and Matt Kemp, two of players who were on like so-called big market teams, the Los Angeles Dodgers and Atlanta Braves, respectively. Like 5 or 10 years ago, the Padres would have not gotten those players through trades, period. And there's very few teams now in Major League Baseball that say that they won't compete for a World Series every single year. It's usually that those teams are like rebuilding big time, or they're like they just have big contracts that they can't move and stuff, or they're aging. So the Major League Baseball revenue sharing has really helped. And this year with this year's World Series, Kansas City Royals and San Francisco Giants, both teams were wild cards. Gotta give that up to Major League Baseball for that. The third major professional sports league in North America that has great competitive balance is the NHL. Ever since the NHL went to a salary cap in 2005-2006, it's done wonders for the league. And in that time, that all 30 NHL teams have made the playoffs at least one time, which was pretty amazing. Before the salary cap was introduced, that a lot of teams had like disparities in payroll and stuff like that. Now each team has to have a minimum amount of payroll for the cap floor, and the NHL also has a hard salary cap as well, which helps a lot as with the teams. And it seems like every single year more and more teams are kind of in it for the playoff race and stuff like that, because of the extra. They get a guaranteed point if this tied after regulation, which I don't like, but that keeps a lot of teams in it for a playoff spot and stuff like that. And also, the NHL product is probably one of the greatest in sports for like the on ice product, which is pretty good. And also, most teams every single year have kind of a big shot of making the playoffs and stuff like that. If they spend to the salary cap or just below it, they're in pretty good shape. There's some teams that have cap issues and they can't really move their players and stuff, and that hurts a few teams, especially this year. It's hurting the Boston Bruins, one of my favorite hockey teams, from making significant moves. The Bruins are not in a spot of a playoff position right now, but that could change. But the only teams that have had like problems with the system has been the Edmonton Oilers. The first year when the NHL had started the salary cap, they made the Cup Finals, but every single year since they've never made the playoffs. Plus they have like maybe chemistry issues with all their players and stuff. If you draft good and sign good players to free agents, and also sign your own players to long-term contracts in the NHL, you're going to be pretty good for many years. I see. And also you have to, and teams have to have a star goaltender and a star defenseman. If you have those two things, you're probably going to be a cup contender every single year to challenge for the Stanley Cup. And every single year, I think 20 to 22 NHL teams have a legitimate shot to make the Stanley Cup playoffs and maybe challenge for a cup. Maybe 10 teams each year say they have a legitimate shot to win the Stanley Cup. And the last major professional sports league that's competitive balance is good is the NBA. The NBA's competitive balance is not good. It's the worst of the four major sports, even though it gets a lot of exposure and stuff. It's a star-driven league and stuff like that. Star-driven league. All the major players want to play for the major markets. And if you have 2-3 superstar players in the major market, they're going to go far to win the NBA championship and stuff like that. And the NBA salary cap is soft. It's soft. It's not really a salary cap. The luxury tax is just kind of silly and stuff. I think that the teams that go over the luxury tax probably pay it, but the teams that benefited for it probably just I don't know what they do with the money. I don't think they upgrade their rosters. Maybe they save it for stuff, or that the owners get paid and just pocketed their money. And also, it seems every single year the NBA, the teams that are going to go in the finals or the conference finals is each single year in the NBA. There's only about maybe 4 to maybe as much as 6 teams that have a legitimate shot to win an NBA championship. The other 24 teams don't have a legitimate shot to win the NBA championship, and plus many teams that are not going to make the playoffs, they are so-called tanking to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, or like a top pick in the NBA draft. But sometimes the NBA draft is kind of like a crapshoot. Some players, and some years, the draft is good for great college players coming out who are freshmen, sophomores, or juniors or seniors. But there's other years which the draft crop is just shallow, and especially in the NBA, if some of the top picks of the NBA draft turn out to be superstar players, others fringe players, or some just flop big time. So you cannot count on the NBA draft for anything for these teams to get better. And I don't like that competitive balance for the NBA, because fans will get sick and tired of seeing the 4 to the 6 same teams over and over and over and over again in the NBA finals and stuff like that. Even though the NBA is a star-driven league, it's just fans just don't want to see the same teams in the NBA finals every single year. They just click off, and click off. No wonder the NBA finals ratings have been going down on ABC for the past several years. It's just that I think fans are just getting tired to see the same old teams in the NBA finals every single year. And that's about it on that. And I'll be back later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, for 2 more video blogs, one about retro television, and the third and final video blog of the night, the personality profile about CBS Sports and Turner Sports announcer Kevin Harlan. See you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye now.